Hi, welcome to the TLBL show. I'm your host, Ben Zieper, and we have a very exciting episode for you. Today I'm joined by a very, very special guest. He is our Brazilian brain, Evandro, the Head Analyst. Please give it up for TL Yaltz.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. Better now.
Why is it better now?
Because we're live.
That's true. And before we were just not live and shit in the shit.
Yep.
It's good to be here with you. You want to have a beer?
Absolutely.
Cool. Hold on, let's get this. Okay, watch this. We have a magic little
Magical hand.
hand. It's been a long week. I think you've earned this.
Thank you.
I was thinking about this earlier. Conceptually, it's so strange what just happened in the office because we were like, hey, coaches, we need to go drink beer in the other building. And no one really said anything to us, which either means that they knew what we were, on my hand, either means they knew what we were doing, or our jobs are just so insignificant that we could
take a break and
have a beer. Yeah. Well, thanks for being here. Cheers. We have a lot to talk about.
I know, yeah.
We're going to be talking about the Brazilian league scene today. We're going to be giving tips on how to climb in solo queue. And we're also going to be talking about what Yaltz saw in Jenkins a few years ago, because Yaltz used to be the academy head coach. So you've had a really unique experience while you've been here so far.
Yeah, it's been a crazy ride, moving to another country and being away from everyone, especially with the pandemic now. So it's been pretty intense, but we've been holding up and doing well. So.
And you have a new best friend here too.
Yeah. I don't know if you know him, but it's the cleaning guy. He started today.
Oh, that's so nice. I'm glad you guys bonded.
Yeah.
He actually told me he didn't like you that much, but he seems two-faced.
Yeah. It's kind of like that sometimes.
I was hoping we could play a game. How's your beer pong going? Like, you good? You bad?
We don't have that game in Brazil.
Really?
Yeah, no. I actually never played. I played once here, and that's my experience.
Wait, so what are the typical drinking games in Brazil?
Just drinking.
You don't need a game?
Yeah, we don't need a game. We just drink.
What do college kids play to make it go by quicker?
I mean, card games sometimes. Uno.
Okay. Are you familiar with beer pong? You
Yeah.
Play?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we have a little bit of a twist on our game of beer pong. So at the bottom there's 3 cups for you, 3 cups for me.
Mm-hmm.
At the bottom of each cup is a question or a topic. And here I have a list of what each topic means. And based on what ball you get the cup in, we're going to have a little bit of maybe we'll get like an inside scoop. Learn a little bit more about you, about the world that we live in.
Yeah.
So let's set up real quick.
All right, I got the small cups.
Our producer Joey got the small cups, if you're wondering why it looks so silly. Where are your cups?
Right.
Can you set your cups up in a triangle too?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to get it in yours, and then you can try to get it in mine.
Okay.
Stop that smirk. Oh my God, we should have filled these with water. Every time we forget to fill these with water. I'll do one more.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a horrible. I didn't play that much in college. Yo, all right, I'm gonna suck. You go, and then I'll go. Nope. Oh my God. Did we account for the fact that we might miss all of these?
What if we never get one?
Oh my God, you got one. That's so crazy. Let's see what this one says. No, let's do this one.
Yeah, it's the second one.
Okay, this one says, oh, roster rewind. Okay, so Yaltz, you were the academy head coach, as we talked about previously. And I know that you had a big influence on our roster last year. I was wondering if you have any stories about a roster that could have been, or something you were trying to get, a person you were trying to get, and we could just think about what hypotheticals would be like.
Yeah. So every off season, it's usually a lot of work because not only you need to evaluate everyone on your roster, but you also need to go around and see the new prospects and people that are doing pretty well, or someone that is going to fit into something you need in your roster. So maybe you want some experience to guide some new players and everything. And one cool story that I can tell you is we almost got BRTT.
BRTT from CB-LOL?
From CB-LOL, yeah. To
Okay.
play on TLA. We had a lot of talks. Unfortunately, it didn't go through, but we were pretty close to having him joining TLA.
This is the same BRTT that beat doublelift in a 1v1 and was the 1v1 all-star at a point.
Exactly, yeah. And he would play under double lift if he was here.
Was this, so would this have been in place of tactical? Would BRTT have been tactical spot in the academy roster?
Yeah.
So in theory, doublelift could have gotten replaced by the guy who beat him in the 1v1 as well.
I mean, if the importing rules were a bit different, because at the time we had 2 imports, yes. But yeah, eventually, if the course of events were the same and doublelift left, BRTT could have possibly played for TL. Yeah.
That is an exciting story. Is that a story that's known in the Brazilian community or no?
So it's pretty funny because he had his announcement video for his team, Pang Gaming, and they kind of teased a little bit with a passport and an American flag and him going to his wife, and that meant like staying in Brazil and staying with his wife. So yeah, he used this story for a cute little tease as well.
That's nice. All right, hand me one of those cups. I'll one of the ones that have more writing on it or no?
Yes, manage me.
Oh, manage me. Okay, so Yaltz, I'm your new manager. I'm the new league team manager. So we've had 2 weeks together so far, 3 weeks together. Manage me. What could I be doing better? What do you got for me?
Wow, the list is
short.
Yes, it's short. Off the top of my head, I think the big thing you could do is better smoothies.
Are you serious?
I don't think avocado and turmeric smoothies are that good.
But I'm doing it so you'll stay healthy.
Yeah, but I think they could taste a little bit better.
Okay, what would you have me put in your smoothie?
Any better? Because I heard the first ones were really bad.
They've definitely gotten better.
The first ones were really bad, yeah. It
really?
did get better, for sure. You had some help. You had a lot of minds helping you do the smoothies. But
there's nothing funnier than having a bunch of professional League of Legends players try to coach you in making a smoothie, because they definitely think I'm the dumbest dummy they've ever met in their entire life. But
yeah, at least you're trying.
Exactly. And plus, I could do algebra. I don't know if they finished algebra, so give and take.
I've known some that couldn't.
All right, we had kind of a hectic week. It's been a little bit of a crazy week, and I don't want everything that happened this week to overshadow a big talking point that we've talked about, which is Jenkins. You worked with him extensively in the past when you were the academy coach. I was wondering if you could just tell us, we're not going to talk about everything that's been going on. I just want to highlight him because he's a really hardworking kid, and I like him a lot. I know you like him a lot. What can you tell us about what it's like to coach Jenkins?
Jenkins is a guy that, like you said, extremely hardworking, and if you give him direction, if you tell him that's what you should improve on, and those are the points that are going to allow you to get there, he's going to do it, and he's going to put all his life and work to make that happen. So I feel like even though he's been with TL for a little bit, he didn't have necessarily that direction before. He was kind of just trying to adapt to the environment and learn a little bit more about competitive. But when I started working together with him and having more direction, he started learning some, like pretty much all the concepts that he was lacking, and diversifying his champion pool, because at first he was known as the Cannon one trick, and now I feel like he can play pretty much anything, or at least if you give him the champion that has to learn, he's going to do it. And outside of that, he's a great person to have around. He's super fun and has very high energy, which is very important for a team. And yeah, I was confident that Jenkins could have a shot in LCS. But when you get to a point where you're doing better than everyone in academy, which I think he was at some point, it's hard to get past that. There's no challenge. So I'm really happy that he has a chance to play on LCS. It's been something that I've been looking forward to see. And yeah, I think he's going to do great. This split and not this split, but last split, working with Hex Defender and Spawn, I feel like he improved even more. And also the team cohesive was there, and they were working well together. So I feel like that helped him even more. And the transition felt pretty smooth, in my opinion.
So you were the head coach of the academy last year. Now you're the head analyst. Spawn, who's very prestigious and very well known in the community, took over as the academy coach this year. What can you tell me about the way you've seen him coach Jenkins? How do you think he has impacted his growth past year?
So trying to put myself in Spawn's shoes, I feel like both Jenkins and Armao were players that were kind of plug and play. They were ready and would adapt to anything that was asked or needed. And I feel like Spawn had a really good presence and leadership with the team, and he helped the team have the same mindset and the same goal. And when that happens, I feel like the team improves so much faster. Everyone has the same goal. Everyone has that eager to get to LCS. And I feel like that back and forth thing with Jenkins being so easy to work with, and he's pretty much going to do anything that you ask him to do, and Spawn being a good presence and being a good leader helped the team be on the right path. And we had recent examples of both Armao and Jenkins playing on LCS and performing well against good players. So it's been pretty nice to see that.
I love that you brought up Armao because what a great guy. I love Armao. You were the academy head coach when we picked him up because he had been on Dignitas, and then he had been put into the academy on Dignitas. And then the 2020 split comes around, and you decide to pick him up. What was the thought process behind that decision? I know that some people were hesitant to pick him up, but you really dove right in, and I know you fought for him like crazy.
I feel like sometimes the community or just the perception of teams can be pretty black and white, and I don't feel like that's the case with people that put in so much work. And especially in his case, like, people tend to think that he was playing for so long and he's been to so many teams, but he's so young and he has so much ahead of him. And for a guy like him that is extremely dedicated, you're gonna have him on your team, and he's gonna bring so much experience and like leadership and a voice that you can trust and follow in game. Who doesn't want a player like that, to be honest? My plan when I was building the roster was
last year.
It was last year, 2020 summer. We had a pretty rough year on TLA, especially with the pandemic. But when I was trying to find a new jungler, my goal was to have someone with experience, but not someone that would be, just collecting a paycheck, if that makes sense. I wanted someone that would put in the work and someone that would help the team and guide the young players that we had on the roster. And he did that. And I feel like now that TLA is a more cohesive team, and there is like we talked about, a roster of players that have the same goal and they are with the same mindset. He's been performing great, and he's one of the stars of TLA, and I'm really happy for him too, because I feel like it was necessary for people to see him, for example, performing so well at playoffs, to understand that this player still has so much to show, and we should trust that he's going to do that.
What did you think of Jenkins' debut this weekend? Did his performance impress you? Were you a little underwhelmed?
So game one, I feel like
versus CLG.
Versus CLG, he was playing GP against Gwen. I feel like he did more than I expected. Even though the team played around him and we had a plan to use his priority on top side, he was pretty much destroying Finn on that matchup. He was like 50 CS ahead, and was pretty much like top damage on the game, and he was always pushing and pressuring pretty much the whole laning phase, and that created a pressure point for us to initiate plays and control all the topside river. So I feel like he did better than expected, considering all the circumstances. And for the second day was obviously a harder day against C9. I don't feel like our team as a whole was with a good idea on how to win with that comp. I feel like we struggle a little bit to understand what we should be doing. So I don't think he underperformed. I think he played on an average level on the second day, but I expect him to obviously keep improving and playing super well. I trust that he's gonna keep going up.
Transitioning in this field can be a little difficult because there's so many high expectations for you when you do make those next steps. And you probably experienced that similarly when you went from academy head coach to the head analyst this past year. Can you tell me about what the decision making was like behind that change in positions and how you've been liking the new job so far.
So after I was done with the academy split last year, summer, we were not on playoffs, so we had a lot of free time. And pretty much since I was here and Team Liquid LCS was still playing their playoffs and they had Worlds after that, I talked with Dodo and I talked with Jad and I was like, well, I'm here. I want to help. Let's try to do something. So I started helping the analyst staff and I started helping just the coaches in general. And initially it was a lot about doing some researches, presenting certain concepts or new champions showing up. And the team felt that this was something that they needed or something that was really helpful because it would put the team on the same page. And I also helped with scouting. So then all of that work that I showed throughout that time was something that Jet thought that was really helpful for the team, and we should have that for 2021 as well. And he talked with me, and we had we tried to set up something on the way that would work for both ways because obviously it's really important to be in an LCS roster because you have so much experience around you, and you learn so much. So that's something that I've been seeking for a long time. But also I wanted to kind of keep doing the same things that I was doing before, which is some of the coaching part of it, which is presenting things to the team and talking about concepts and being involved with decisions as well. So I feel like in that sense, the transition has been pretty smooth because I have a lot of flexibility to do what I think it's good for the team and which is what is important. And I feel like me and the coaching staff have a pretty good relationship in terms of deciding how we're going to approach certain tasks or go over problems and everything. So it's been pretty smooth. I've been enjoying it, and I'm looking forward for like the rest of the split and next year and Worlds and everything.
So I'm still a little, I don't understand how you could be an analyst. I mean, I do, but you're looking at something that hundreds of millions of people are looking at every day because a lot of people play this game. What qualifies you, or how do you notice these little intricacies that you can present to the team as something that could benefit them? And also, could you give me an example of a time in the past where you have noticed something or figured out a way we play something or play around something and how you came to that conclusion?
I feel like it's a lot of years, to be honest, just watching the game, and a lot of the times concepts kind of die out, but then, or certain ideas kind of die out, but then when a patch changes or certain things get strong again, they bounce back. So the experience in the esports scene in League of Legends is really relevant because there's always this back and forth of ideas that you can have. And now I played the game since 2010. I tried to go pro for a while, was challenger in Brazil.
Which is like what in NA?
Which is probably rank 1 in NA. I'm JJ in Brazil. I tried going pro. I didn't quite make it. I had a wrist injury, and I made some connections, and I had some friends that were on teams, and it kind of went from there. You know, I started being a coach, went for different regions, interact with different players. So all this experience kind of stays in your brain because whenever a new idea comes out or you're watching something, you have all that back knowledge to base yourself off of. And talking about something that I think I did well and helped the team, I can think about 2 examples without revealing much.
Yeah.
Which is last year at Worlds, Evelyn was on the meta, and it was the first time that she was meta for a while. And the team was struggling a lot playing against Evelyn. So one of the things I did was pretty much going over all the Evelyn VODs that I could find in the world, and I watched a bunch of times, and I came up with certain concepts for the team to play against Evelyn in terms of how to pressure without getting flanked and some sort of a ping setup for the team to avoid the flanks or the angles that Evelyn can attack. And just because obviously it's not going to be the final decision, but the fact that you initiate conversation and present certain concepts is going to get everyone to talk about it and be on the same page to, well, maybe we're not going to do exactly like that, but we're going to adjust this or that, and it's going to work. And another example, more recent, at the start of the year, we wanted to start playing Yone, and we didn't really understand how to make the champion work properly for the team. And one of the things that we tried doing, and was also from this research that I did, which was if we have bot prio and we use that bot prio to unlock the Yone on the early game, which means going mid, trying to force the enemy mid flash, that's going to make the Yone a very impactful pick around level 6 because he has kill pressure on the enemy laner. So that kind of created a kind of a scripted early game for us to play around Yone that led to us having much more success with the pick. And yeah, that's kind of the idea. There's obviously a lot of intricacies. I'm just talking about general ideas, but when you look at things this way and you present the team a certain concept, it helps everyone be on the same page, which is the important thing.
Something I found out about you while we were prepping for this is that you were the first, or to the best of your knowledge, you were the first Brazilian to work in North American League of Legends. Mm-hmm. How did that come to be? How do you end up here?
It was a crazy ride, to be honest.
It was a long drive.
It was a long drive. Like Mexico, we had a break. The car didn't work. So I worked with TL the first time, 2017, remotely. They opened a position for positional coach at the time. And I worked with Rainover, Dardock, and Inori at the time because TL had 3 junglers. And the process to make it happen was I saw the position, I applied for it. I went through 2 or 3 interviews, and I had some tasks to do as well. And I performed well, and I presented a good work. And yeah, pretty much I started right after that. I worked remote with the team for about 6 or 7 months. After that time, I had some issues and I had to move out. So I decided to try going to a team that I could be in person because at the time I couldn't be here with the team. It was just a remote position. Speeding up a year and a half or 2 years in the future, the academy team needed a new coach. Actually, I forgot to mention, throughout this whole time, I was kind of interviewing with TL as well. Like, they knew me, so whenever they changed coaches for academy like 2 or 3 times. So whenever a change happened and I saw that they were like looking for a new coach, I was like, all right, time to apply again. Maybe it's going to be that time. And it was actually the 3rd time. So 3rd time's the charm.
There you go.
And I went through an interview process with Michael Artress at the time.
Shout out Michael Artress.
Michael Artress. And I went through a tryout period as well where I worked with academy remotely just to make sure that I would fit in since they changed coaches a few times recently. And it worked super well. The team liked what I was doing, and I liked the team as well. I really wanted to have the opportunity of working in a major region. And yeah, I traveled here right after the summer split was over, 2019. And then we went straight to Scouting Grounds. We won Scouting Grounds, nice. Which was nice, really nice event. And yeah, since then I've been with TLA and then moved to TL now.
So you were persistent and you put yourself out there. But is there any other advice you'd give to someone from Brazil or anyone outside the U.S. that's trying to break into this industry?
Mm-hmm. I think the big thing is a lot of the times when you're in a minor region or you don't have the experience, you kind of don't put, like you said, don't put yourself out there. You don't apply because you're like, well, I'm not going to get this job. It's just a waste of time. But I feel like the experience of applying for a job, the whole preparation for it, and the feedback that you get once you get it or not is going to allow you to try getting the job the next time or at least be more prepared for it. I feel like people sometimes are not seeking opportunities or trying to make it work somewhere else, and they kind of just stay around their bubble. And like, you know, if I did the same, I would be in another team in Brazil and maybe it wouldn't work, and then I would move to another team in Brazil. But I really wanted to get the opportunity to, you know, go somewhere else and learn more, which I think it's a big issue with a lot of the small regions because you don't have the experience, you don't have the imports, you don't have people that are you don't have people that are gonna bring the experience that you're lacking. Because in Brazil, for example, we were pretty isolated. There's no other region that we like can share information with.
And that's just because of distance?
It's because of distance, and previously we had Latin America, but they moved to Mexico. So now sometimes they even play with NA teams, but obviously they're not necessarily in a super high level. They're improving over time, but Brazil kind of got isolated. So in a sense, it's kind of like Australia, which was also isolated. And even if we could play with, imagine like Australia can play with Korea because the ping is not that far off. But the Korean teams are not going to want to play with Australian teams, unfortunately, just because the level was so different. So yeah, you kind of just get isolated and you never break out, pretty much.
So do you have like a certain pride being one of the few Brazilians working in North American League, especially as a coach and a head analyst? I mean, that's a very prestigious position to hold. How do you tell people to reach out to you? What's your method of giving back or showing your pride?
Yeah. I think it's amazing. I feel like it's a great life opportunity for me. I was seeking it for many years, so it's amazing that it finally happened. And about giving up to the people or trying to help people, I'm pretty open with my DMs are open on Twitter. If you want to send me a message, I try to help pretty much everyone.
His Twitter name is Jensen, real quick, just so you know. DM Jensen.
At Jensen. So I try to answer everyone that messages me pretty much, and people ask me for tips or some things that they can do to improve their work, and I'm always available. I always try to help people. Obviously, my schedule is very busy as well, so sometimes I'm not going to answer right away, but I always try to give some feedback because I feel like I didn't have this a few times when I asked people to help me. So I feel like if I do it, I'm just helping the community and helping more people join teams and, just have a more competitive, better environment for everyone.
Something that we've talked about before, and I've talked about with Jose, who is the leader of Team Liquid Brazil, is just the sheer power behind the Brazilian fan base and how passionate they become around their teams and their fans. Do you ever feel like you have that support, or is that something that we need to bring to you? Is that something we need to get Team Liquid Brazil to rally behind?
I mean, I would love to have more support. I feel like I do have some. There's some people that follow me on Twitter, all the 6 people that follow me on Twitter. They're pretty much always, sending messages or answering the things that I talk about and trying to stay close with me. I feel like the Brazilian community has this high energy, and they're very warm, and they want to interact with you and be around, which I think it's great, but it wouldn't hurt to have more. So yeah, I want to be close to the community. I want to talk with the Brazilian community and help them understand how things work here, help more people like pretty much be here too. I feel like it's important to use the talent available. I feel like Brazil has a lot of talent.
What is solo queue and playing League like in Brazil?
It's not extremely different from here in terms of level. If anything, the overall level of solo queue might be higher in NA because of the amount of import players that are here. Like we don't have Jensen in Brazil. We don't have.
Well, Jensen's not an import anymore, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure, we don't have 4JJ in Brazil, rank 1. So in that case, the NA solo queue is slightly better. But the thing that I think Brazil has over NA is low ping, which is a topic of discussion pretty much every year in NA. But my perception of it is, like I said, I was a player before, and I tried to play the game both in Brazil and here. You can really feel the difference. In Brazil, we play with like 7-10 ping, depending on where you are. And I feel like just the level of mechanics that you can achieve is greater. Obviously, I'm not saying that Brazilians have better mechanics than NA players in general. Like
you heard that. That's the thumbnail.
That's the thumbnail. It's done. What I mean is the average solo queue player is going to have higher mechanics just because he's put into a position where pretty much all his inputs on the keyboard and the mouse are going to like be really fast, and that doesn't happen here. A lot of the times in NA, I feel like you playing on the live server, you need to kind of predict what's going to happen to actually do it in time. And people obviously get used to that, but I feel like the Brazilian players have a pretty high mechanical skill. They just don't have necessarily the macro and the concept knowledge that a lot of players here have because of this experience that is always coming into NA.
So you could have made BRTT just the best bot laner in the world.
Pretty much.
We've been playing a lot of solo queue together, which has been a lot of fun for me. I'm sure it's not as fun for you. And North American solo queue can be pretty toxic, can be pretty hard to climb. What do you think are the biggest pitfalls that people fall into when they're trying to climb in North America?
Typing.
Oh, okay, I don't know if that is directed at me, but just in general typing or?
Yeah, I feel like just overall as a tip to climb, I guess, if you focus on your teammates and how they're doing and not necessarily like your part of the deal, you know, like what you should be doing to win the game, you're just going to make yourself play worse. So I feel like that's not necessarily an NA thing, but pretty much everywhere, just typing and being unfocused just doesn't help you. You're going to play worse. You're not going to communicate with pings, which is the best way to communicate.
But if I'm going to lose anyways, why can't I yell at my teammate?
Then you FF.
Okay.
Or mute all. So I feel like it just doesn't help. It's something that I did before, and whenever I was playing my best, I wasn't talking on chat at all.
Okay.
If anything, just typing summoner times.
I'm not good enough to time summoner times.
Just ping.
Just
missing.
ping it?
Yeah, and question mark.
What are some champions that people should look at if they're trying to climb in solo queue right now?
That's a good question.
Thank you. I wrote it.
Thank you. I feel like there's obviously a bunch of different champions that you can watch in pro and be like, well, I'm going to start playing Lee mid. But I feel like a lot of the times the people don't necessarily understand the intricacies and why certain picks are strong, and they play it wrong. So, for example, one of the reasons why Lee is good
Is E.
is because of the E. He
Yeah,
can wave clear and everything, but that's something that people now might know more because the casters and everyone talked a lot about. But a few first times when he was out, people didn't really understand what was going on, and they were playing Lee, and Lee is a very high mechanical champion. So no, you don't have the skills to play mechanically, and you don't know why it's good. So it's a recipe for disaster. So I feel like my advice to people that want to climb or just want to play certain things is you can play whatever you want. At the end, having fun with the game is a pretty big part of climbing, because if you're not having fun, you're not going to put in the time, you're not going to try to get better. So my advice would be just try to understand the reasoning why certain things are good, and maybe like this pro player leveled up an ability, like a different ability that you would normally do. So try to understand why. Try to understand why he's going with a certain build or a certain rune. Just watching replays as well of players playing matchups really help. So just in general, if I have to say a pick, I'm gonna say Gwen.
Gwen.
Because she's extremely broken.
Oh, yeah.
And if you understand the intricacies of the matchups and how to play, pretty much the best tip I can give is
You don't even need to understand the intricacies. You could
you
just press
auto
Q.
attack.
Yeah.
No, you level up PE, level 1.
Oh, never mind. Well, what we say? If you could give one piece of advice to Gwen players, what would you say?
Try to use her E and her range advantage with the E to punish melee matchups. I feel like that's what people didn't understand at first. People thought that she was not as great because they were leveling up Q level 1, and then they were completely useless. And then people, well, maybe if I level up E, the guy cannot touch the wave because I literally can have like a scissor ranged auto attack that he can't do anything. And then they started playing with Ignite because she's so mobile and safe. So I feel like it's just understanding how it works and trying to apply in game is going to help people climb.
Do you ever take off your league ears and put on like your regular person ears and just think about everything you just said was complete nonsense?
Yes.
Like, did you tell your parents to watch this?
I didn't because they don't speak English.
Okay.
But it does feel like nonsense. Yeah. If you don't play the game, that makes like no sense at all.
Your parents will speak English. I don't speak Portuguese. But we have a fun game set up that I think we're going to learn a lot from. We had Yaltz pick out a bunch of Portuguese League of Legends terms, and I'm going to see if I can, he's going to read them to me, and I'm going to see if I can guess what they are based solely on the way they sound.
Amazing. Let's
Amazing.
do it. Yeah.
Are we ready, producers? Okay. Zonear.
Zonear.
How do you say that word?
Zonear.
How?
Zonear.
Zonia. And by the way, I know I asked you 5 minutes before we went on, but how do you Evandro?
Evandro.
Evandro. It's almost like you have to muddle it. All right.
Yeah.
Zonear.
Zonia.
Zonia. It's
not Zonia. Zonia.
so it's not Zonia's.
It's not Zonia.
Okay, well that's the hint. That's the hint. Zone. It has the word zone in it.
It's related, yeah. It's pretty much what we were talking about just now with the Gwen.
Yeah.
You want to zone people with your E. You want to keep the range advantage. You know.
So that means zone with E.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm using
Okay,
as an example, but it's pretty much zoning. You know, zone something out of somewhere.
Got it.
That
Okay.
makes sense.
Was that zone and zoning? Look at that. We even have it
Yeah.
on the screen.
Well, thanks, producer.
Thank you, producers. All right, should we go to the next one?
Yeah.
Let's see. It's coming.
Anytime.
We're patient. Yeah. Invadir. How do you say that word? I read it like it was Russian. Invadir. How would you say that word?
Invadir.
Invadir.
Mm-hmm.
Invade. That's easy. That's so easy.
I started easy.
Thank you. I
started easy for
appreciate you
man.
starting easy. You must have thought I was really stupid.
Yeah, you got it right. You got it right. Pretty much, when we were playing the game in Portuguese, we tried to kind of like adapt a lot of words for English, but we also have this thing in Portuguese where we transform anything in a verb. So, like the zone thing, zonear is not necessarily like a word in Portuguese. It's something that we got from zone and then we adapted to Portuguese.
So what do you call that that Creole hybrid language? Because like Spanish and English people call Spanglish. So what do you call Portuguese English? Pinglish.
I don't think we have a word for that, but it's pretty much just the League of Legends language in Brazil.
If I went to Brazil and I only typed in English in League, would people know what I was saying? Or would my toxicity and my flaming go unknown? So maybe I could climb a lot there, actually.
Exactly, yeah. You can rage and no one's going to understand if you put good about yourself and you climb. Yeah, I feel like people in Brazil don't speak that much English, to be honest.
Okay.
It should be more. But
Let's not get political.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Let's get holy crap.
Well, now we're going a little bit harder.
Atordoar. How do you say that word?
Atordoar.
Atordoar. Hold on, let me think. Atordoar. Dude, what?
All right, I'm going to give you a tip, right? It's not related to the other ones. So like
it's not like a hybrid English word?
No, it's not.
So I'm just supposed to guess it based on nothing?
That's the game. That's the game.
Atordoar.
If you can't do it, just
I don't know. Does it? Does the word in English start with an A?
No.
Jesus.
So we're talking about in-game things, right?
In-game things. Could you use it in a sentence? Oh, yeah. Use it in a sentence. You have voice crack. Use it in a sentence in Portuguese as if you're shot calling, and I'll try to see if I can understand it.
It's hard to say that word in a sentence because it's a facting game, if that makes sense.
Ooh, it's like a champion ability?
Not a champion ability, but it's something that shows in game when something happens.
All right, is it like a... Is it a slow? Is it the word for slow?
No, but you're close.
Is it stun?
It is a stun, yeah. When the guy is atordoado, that thing, that means that he's stunned, yeah.
Yeah, but the word for stun takes longer to say than the stuns last in the game.
Exactly. That's why I said that I can't put in a phrase, you know? We just say he's stunned.
All right, let's get the next one going. What is this word? Another A word.
Yeah.
Arauto.
Arauto.
Is that Twitch? Is it rat? Is it Twitch?
It is an animal.
It's an animal.
Maybe corrupted.
Corrupted animal. Is it Grump?
No.
Is it Baron? Is this the
You're
rest of the
pretty much saying all
podcast?
the
Is
corrupted
it dragon?
animals.
Is it chickens? Is it golems? All right. Since I already guessed 8 things, I'm gonna go with it's an animal in League. There's like very few. I'm gonna go with wolves. Is it wolves?
No, I said corrupted, Ben.
It's corrupted.
It's an animal that got corrupted. It's Shelly. It's Herald.
Oh, it's a Rift Herald. Okay,
Yeah.
so all right, that is. How does that word translate?
I feel like it's a localized way to say it, but
Okay.
it's not necessarily something that means much, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Just like the objective, Rift Herald, doesn't really mean much.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're LS.
But that word is more used in Portuguese. When pro players are playing the game in Portuguese, they say Arauto for Herald a lot of the times.
Okay. I think this is our 5th and final one. You submitted 5, right?
Yeah, the last one is the hardest.
Dude, the last 2. Dude, what? There's like a thing on the A. What? Acuâminas.
Acuâminas.
What?
Acuâminas.
Acuâminas?
That's better.
Acuâminas?
You're doing it now.
Dude, I'm actually really smart.
Yeah.
I went to college.
You learned Portuguese already.
Acuâminas. I want to say it's like river because aqua and like river, aqua. That I think that's Latin or something for water, Spanish for
that
water.
one would have a Q in the word.
Okay.
But it's also an animal.
It's also an animal. All right, give me like one more hint.
There's a lot of those in the game.
A dominion. It's creeps.
No.
No. It's chickens.
It is chickens.
It's
actually.
chickens!
Yeah, but it's raptors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that is like, if I were to say I saw Jurassic Park and there were raptors in there, I would say I forgot how to say it already.
Acuâminas.
Acuâminas?
It's another word that Riot decided to name the things. It doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Do people in Brazil call raptors chickens like we do in NA?
They do, yeah.
What? How do you say chickens?
Galinha.
Galinha. What?
Galinha.
Can I get it typed down?
It's Galinha.
Okay. Noted.
Galinha.
We're getting to the end of the show.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah, we have to go back to work. We're buzzed as hell now. Got to go
I
back
almost
to
finished
work.
my beer.
That's
already.
crazy. I had 3 sips, but it's just because I'm so nervous when I hang out with you.
Everyone, yeah. That's kind of what
You see, they got a shot of me just drinking the beer. That's the sponsored content right there. We're gonna go to fan chat to see if there's any questions in Twitch chat. So Twitch, if you got any questions for Yaltz, please submit them right now. Before we do that, any final thoughts? Anything you want to leave us with? This is one of the first impressions that our community has of you because you're not super active in squad a lot of times. So what should we leave here knowing about you? You love bath bombs.
I do love bath bombs. It's just been great to be a part of the team, and like I said, I want to be closer to the community as well, and just help people just improve and learn about the game if I can. So feel free to reach out to me and talk with me on Twitter if you want. It's at TL_Yaltz. And I should start doing more content.
Yeah.
I think I should start talking more of the Brazilian community, especially, but it's an intense season, man.
No, bro, you're leaving them behind. You're so famous and successful now. You just forgot your roots.
Yeah. Bye, Brazil. I'm never coming back.
All right, we have our first question. It's from MDR Taco, and they want to know what your favorite bath bomb is.
Whew. I can't remember the names because they have very complex names, right?
Lavender Moon.
That's easy. They put like some crazy names. But I do like the ones with like fruity smells.
Okay.
I feel like they're usually the best.
Okay. What fruit? Because now I'm thinking maybe I'll make you a smoothie that features some of your bath bomb scents.
So I think the most common one is probably like strawberry.
Okay.
But I had one of a Brazilian fruit once called açaí, which is something popular here now too, and it was actually great. So
cool.
that one was good too.
Our next question comes from Moonizzle, who is an avid Team Liquid supporter. I may have pronounced his name wrong, so I'm sorry about that. They want to know when you're streaming, Yaltz. When's the stream coming?
That's kind of what I was talking about. I want to be more involved with people because streaming is something I always loved doing. I love playing the game. I love interacting with people, and that was a way for me to do both at the same time. It's just the timing. It's so hard to find, like...
You have plenty of time to hang out with me and play games with me.
But it's...
You'll be like, Ben, you want to get dinner? Ben, you want to get lunch?
I'm on low mode energy. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think anyone enjoys a stream where the person is already a little bit tired after an intense
Totally.
day.
If you think those people don't like the streams, imagine how much I hate those lunches and dinners when you're low energy.
I'm sorry, man. I'll have a monster next time. Or
Can we get a commitment from you that you will stream at some point? How many streams should we expect? When should we expect it? Is it after the playoffs? Is it after the season?
All right. I promise that I'll stream at least once a month.
Okay, that's actually not that hard a promise to keep.
On my off day.
Our next question comes from Artris, who we gave a shout out to earlier. He wants to know any Brazilian restaurants you'd recommend in LA.
In LA, I feel like a lot of the Brazilian restaurants in LA are kind of a scam, to be honest, because they're overpriced and I don't think they're necessarily super good. So 2 options that I'm going to have is one in Hamilton Beach called Taster Brazil. They have very traditional food and everyone is really nice there. I really like their stuff. And if I have to say one in LA, I would say Pampas Grill in Culver City because I feel like their cheap is affordable and good. But I don't like the top tier all you can eat places because I feel like they're kind of a scam.
Okay. We have a question from Kelly the Slayer. She wants to know, how did you get into League of Legends?
It was pretty random, to be honest. I had a group of friends that we would play games together. And at the time, we played a lot of Dota. And this friend, who was a friend that actually kind of got me into Dota, was like, well, I'm playing this other game. I think like I'm done with Dota. I'm just going to, try this game and try to be good at it. And I'm like, no way. Like, let's just keep playing Dota. It's so fun. And I played once. I thought the game was terrible. I was like, well, I'm never going to play this game again. I might as well delete it. But I didn't. And after like a week or so, I started playing more and more. And eventually at some point, I only played Dominion just to get my first win of the day. But then eventually all my other friends stopped playing Dota or other games. So I just went full time to League. And I'm here now drinking some Bud Light and talking with Ben.
Oh, yeah. Sponsored Bud Light, too.
Yeah.
We didn't even pay for this.
Yeah.
V, our fantastic editor for the League of Legends channel, wants to know if you can flame me for anything, me being Ben, anything that I do in solo queue that annoys you. So what do I do that when we play annoys you? Probably nothing, to be honest.
Well, if I have to say something, right, just because of the question, like you said, there's pretty much nothing.
There's literally nothing.
Yeah, but if I have to say something is listening. You don't listen to calls.
Well, I make the calls.
So I'm going to tell a story, right? We were playing this game, and we were playing against a Trundle, right? And the Trundle was hitting our inhibitor, and we were like, all right, let's recall, guys, and defend the inhibitor.
Wrong call.
Yeah, he's going to get the inhibitor. And Ben was like, no way, he's not going to get it. And as the inhibitor was falling, he was saying that, and we lost a base, we lost a game. So, yeah, just,
See, that I take equal blame as you should take because you should have been a better leader in that game and told everyone to not listen to me.
Well, maybe they should have listened to the head analyst, not to the team manager.
You'll Be Marst wants to know what your thoughts are on his favorite champion, Malzahar.
Malzahar. Malzahar has been showing up a little bit more. I feel like the champion is better than most people see it just because of the pressure that you can have with the ult. Like forcing someone to build an item to avoid you is really good. Mm-hmm. Like Skarner, for example, that tax. You got to pay your taxes. I feel like the main issue with Malzahar is that how weak he is early game. So it's pretty hard to transition from laning phase to team fights. One thing that I've seen people doing it, and he was kind of meta before, is playing more Malzahar bot lane. Just because when you play, for example, against a Thresh, you can put your Voidling there and block the hook if you play well enough. So there's definitely some outplay you can do. You also have your passive, the block CC and damage. So there's some stuff you can do. You just need to play really safe on the early game and make sure that you don't lose the game before you're useful.
That was some beautiful analyzing right there.
Thank you.
This next question comes from my friend William Schertzer at home. He's a good kid. Maybe I'll meet him one day. He says, who's your favorite Brazilian soccer player? Is it strange that he just assumed you knew Brazilian soccer players? Also, William, it's football.
Yeah, we call it football. It's unacceptable that you didn't say this right. I'm actually not into football or soccer, as you guys
as
would say
Will
here.
calls it.
As Will wrongly calls it. But if I have to say someone, I would say Neymar. which is like a top tier player now. He plays in Europe. And the reason why I like him is because he's very into esports. He streams a lot of the times with
More than you.
more than me. He plays soccer professionally and streams like a. So I think he's doing a great job at bringing people that are sports fans into the esports world. And yeah, he interacts with a lot of players. He plays a lot of CS:GO, and it's super fun. It's very nice.
Well, Yaltz, we have one last question for you, and it comes from TL Gremlin, and they want to know, did the results of any other team's matches this weekend surprise you? So, except for everything that was going on our side, which, by the way, we went through a whole show without talking about it once. Hell yeah. Anything else surprise you from this weekend?
I think the first two games from C9 were a little bit surprising. Obviously, there was this whole you're coming from an international tournament, so people were, jet lagged and they didn't have much time to practice, and they also want to have a break. So they didn't have that much practice going to the week. So I was a little bit surprised that they were not more dominant, but it's obviously very understandable considering everything that happened. But probably my top tier one might be Immortals. I actually thought they did pretty well. Their bot lane and jungle were performing better than I expected. Definitely better than they showed before. And I feel like the team is doing a great job. The players have been performing better, and the coach as well, Guilloto, has been doing a great job.
What do their support and jungle both have in common that would make them play better than everyone else?
No, that I didn't say support jungle.
Oh, you said bot?
I said bot and jungle. I feel like maybe Rumble have been a thing for Xerxes, because I feel like he's a great Rumble player, probably one of the best. And Rumble is in meta right now. And also he had more time to gel with the team. And their bot lane has been played really aggressive and, creating leads and pressuring, which is always a nice thing to see. It's obviously I don't want the other teams to win. I want my team to win. But it's really nice for me to see that other teams are doing well and, having better competition.
Totally. And we're going to be playing Immortals on Sunday this weekend. So make sure to stay tuned for that match. It should be an exciting one based on what you just presented to us. That's the end of our show. Yaltz, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for taking time away from your busy day to go across the street with me and film this. Yeah. Anything you want to leave with?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me and for everything that we've done here. I think it's great to have an outlet to talk with people and to interact. I should do it more myself, like we talked about streaming and everything. But yeah, it's great. I feel like I had a really nice time.
Me too. Thanks for joining us. And thank you to our producers and everyone who worked on this to make this happen. We really appreciate it. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a few weeks with some more exciting guests, some more exciting topics. And it'll be the middle of the split, so it'll be a fun time. Thanks so much for watching. Have a nice day.